So this is a Ubisoft's big announcement, the end of their press conference. And this year, and this is actually kind of selfishly one of my favorite things to come out of this year's E3. Like, I love SSX, I love snowboarding games, and I feel this is like not an intensely contested genre right now. There's not a lot of people doing new stuff. Steep feels new and fresh, and there's not a lot of information that we've gotten recently. So hit me, Blood.
Yeah, so I went up to the GoPro offices, actually, rather than Ubisoft's offices, because GoPro's in there, and got to play for a few hours. Quite a few other people there. Hip Hop Gamer is a fan.
Right on.
Hung out with him for a little bit. Victor Lucas was there. But yeah, it was it was definitely fun to like get into it and try to familiarize myself with it, because you go through a tutorial, at least in the preview build they had. We went through a tutorial and got the basics, and then it was just sort of like, it felt like the mountain was like really open. Like, it's not even just one mountain, but there's like lots of mountains. So it was like, okay, like move around, like check out this event or that event, and and actually it's probably one of my few criticisms from my time with it, is that like there was so much to do, but then still also so much that wasn't unlocked. And I was like, what is the right way to progress through this? And I'm sure there's like not a right way, but I was like, it's like, what do I need to do next? It's like, oh, the super hard thing? No, what's another medium thing?
You can almost sense like the ultimate freedom of exploration in a game if it has like a timed demo, because at E3 it was like locked into like 5-10 minutes or something like that. So it's just like you would be right in the middle of like, oh, let me see if I can jump over, then it just hard out, like you're done, because they knew like there's no end to this. You could just keep going and going, and it was a little intimidating when I first jumped in. Like, I almost kind of had like to turn to the demo late at E3, and I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, well, you can do anything. She's like, what interests you? You can switch out to these different, your board or you can parachute, and
that's pretty intuitive too, even if like you're not in the right place to do it. Like, if you go to the right event, they'll be marked for a specific type of thing. But also, while you're just walking around, like, you can just like flip to a different direction to switch between, paraglider or wingsuit or snowboard or skis, and then
or boots. You can walk.
Yeah, or just keep it in the center and walk. Doesn't get you very far.
I imagine that's for just like slight corrections. If you like notice right as you're going right and you needed to go left, just kind of like full stop and like hop out onto the board and then shuffle your way across.
Yeah, well, I think it's also because there is sort of a discovery system where like you pull out binoculars and you can look around for different peaks and events.
I don't know if I ever did that. Cool.
Yeah, so that's I think that's sort of how part of finding new events is. You'll get like a little notifications that'll say like, oh, there's a drop zone nearby, and I think of like, if you just not worry about what you're doing for a second, just stop and then go look around. It's like, where is it? And then you can find it that way. But yeah, I know some of the guys that I was that I was playing nearby, they were talking about how much the controls had improved. I hadn't played it at E3,
cool.
So I didn't have that feedback. But it definitely, it definitely felt good, like slicing through the snow, and there's really good like crunch sound effect that goes along with that and everything. And the tricks aren't like super crazy. And it was actually one of the things that I felt like actually got worse as time went on. I think just kind of depending on the course and like how I could feel the rhythm of it. But it's like actually like jumping and then making my trick, and then but what's nice is like you don't have to do anything crazy to land. Like you basically just like let go of everything.
Oh, okay.
And it'll make the landing.
I was awful at the controls at E3. It took me a while, and maybe I was just like frustrated with it, or that control hump in games, I usually just scream my way through because I want to be really good at it, especially for like a genre I love dearly, like snowboarding, that I think relies so much on freedom of expression and just kind of like how you want to go. And actually, that's something that I really liked about the game, is there were a lot of races where there wasn't like a clear way to go. That it was like, you got to get to the bottom of the hill at this point. Like, all racers need to meet there. There will be a finish line that you have to cross, but and specifically with the wingsuit, if you're headed at a mountain, you can go through the mountain, you can go over it, you can go to the left, you can go to the right. So it's kind of fun. I imagine, it's the type of game where you pick one event and then you play that again and again and again. It kind of seems like the way you want to do that.
For sure. With it's just like kind of like any kind of racing or trick based thing. Like you just keep going at it. There was one of the wingsuit ones, and that's a whole other thing. I mean, that's like playing Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it really is.
And I sucked at that too. I hit the ground because it's tough to gauge like how far you are, you know, from the ground. I don't know if that's something that they've improved in controls, but I thought, you know, when I first kind of was feeling the wingsuit, I was like, oh, I'm gonna nail this race, and then I was slamming and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So because they have the checkpoint ones, which really feel like Pilot Wings because you're like trying to like get into the rings, but then they're also the score attack ones, and they judge your score based on like how close you are to the ground. So if like you just shave right next to that rock, you get a high score. You know. But it's funny though because with that kind of scoring system, it's like, okay, it's like, well, I got all right 2,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 or whatever, and then my last one is like 15,000. Like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah,
just move on. Not gonna get anywhere close to that again. And I think one of the things I didn't realize from E3 was the skis. Like, you're not just snowboard, but there's skis as well, and they actually do feel pretty different. The one thing that caught me off a little bit, it was easy for me to get turned around backwards.
Yeah, that happened to me
on the skis, and
like when you try to correct,
and you can totally fine.
You just
that.
do a 360. You land in the same position, like
yeah. So I was correcting by I'll just do another jump.
Yeah,
and then I'll do a trick and then I'll land face forward.
I wonder what.
But a developer did like come up and tell me I had to do something with like both sticks or something like that, just turn around.
Which again, you play the game for 3 hours and it just becomes instinct. It's kind of like the melee weapon in first-person shooters. It's just like, what is that? Is it the shoulder button? Is it the stick? Is it the you just gotta like commit that to memory. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, skis make sense because it's it's nice to have both. It's aesthetically, it's nice to like if you're a skier, you can and a snowboarder. Like I primarily ski whenever I go up in the mountains, but like I have snowboarded before. Video games, I would definitely always want to snowboard more than ski. But I wonder like what do skis get you? Are they faster? Are they like more precision or something? Like why? If I'm having trouble on a snowboard in a race, like would skis help me in any way, or is it just like gotta have skis? It's like just cause if we're gonna have wingsuits, we should probably have skis in there.
Yeah, they definitely felt different, but I don't know in terms of any kind of advantage.
I wonder if we're gonna get like a sled shoes expansion. Have you seen those? The sled shoes?
Oh. The other thing that's in there in terms of the 4 modes, there's also paragliding. Mm-hmm. That felt super weird. Like that's not like anything else, because everything else, you're downhill, you're just zooming, like all 3 of those. Paragliding, it's like
yeah, you're just joining the scenery,
but there were races, and so it was like I'm trying to like beat a time, but I feel like I'm just moving so slow. And then there's like up currents of wind at places, like if you get close to a wall or something, like you'll get the action from the wind, and then it'll kind of blow you off. And so it's like really trying to figure out like how to navigate with that. And it's definitely something that I wasn't feeling yet, but I didn't do a whole lot of it either. But lots of different events and different types of terrain. They've got like the more kind of traditional, just like slopes and snow and drifts and forests and things like that. And then they had the more professional style courses. There's like a Red Bull event and stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't get into any of that. Flags
like actually
and
had ramps with like
stuff.
little blue marker at the top aboard a jump and all of that. And then I did some crazy events down in like a glacier with like all these chunks of ice sticking out of the ground that you could trick off of.
Because that was one of my concerns playing it, was that the demo I played was a lot of snow and rock. They were the trees, the trees. But like I would have loved to and again, I don't want it to get as crazy as SSX, but it would be kind of nice to like jump over a building. It would be kind of, considering it is an open world, to get a vibe of like how this community works. Like is this a tourist attraction? Is this places where other people go, or am I just that nut job that gets like dropped off via helicopter at the top and goes through all this?
There's definitely a sense of like there's like a crew egging you on kind of a thing. There's some events that I got into, where like we got the cameras rolling, make this a good run or something like that. It wasn't like every event, but there were ones that were like that. And then on the flip side of it, there's one that I really liked where they just like set a point off in the distance and you had like 5 minutes to find it. you know, and
Using all the tools, like however you get there.
well, it's just I mean, it's basically like navigating a route down the mountain. But the thing is there are a couple of points when you can see like a good distance, but most of the time it's just like, okay, it's over that hill. Nope, it's over the next hill. Nope, okay, I just and the trick is since you can't go uphill.
Yeah.
you can sort of miss it.
Yeah.
And then you have to start over and like, okay, which way is gonna really get me there? And I passed through some forests and some kind of like dead trees and things along the way. So that was kind of interesting, that kind of exploration. And there were even some of the wingsuit ones that I did one that was sort of like that as well. That there are these hot air balloons, and so like you just skydive and just dive bomb, and then you get a lot of speed. But then like you're trying to hit the ring, so I hit the first ring. But then trying to get to the finish line was tricky because there's like a mountain in my way. It's like, do I need to go right around the mountain? Do I need to go left? And like anything that I did, it was just like really hard to like get that angle I needed to get a clean landing because it's like in the middle of a bunch of trees. So, what else? I mentioned the GoPro thing because I guess one of the things is it's showing off your run. I don't know how much that'll really be a thing that I care about. But it was, so it's like you set your line and then you basically like set a replay or whatever and like set other people to challenge it or show it off to them. But they have these like GoPro cameras in the replays, and then people have been talking about motion sickness in VR. Right. I think this gives VR a run for its money on those accounts. It's like every little like bob of the head and move back and forth, and then you're like, you do a flip or something and you're just like, oh gosh, no.
Yeah. It's like the worst possible perspective on like what you're doing. Yeah.
It is cool to get some slow-mo shots. But that's tricky. Another weirdish kind of thing they had is, they have these, there's some more exploration stuff where like basically they challenge you to like get into like these points going down the mountain. So like, as you were saying, like go through like the eye hole in a rock or like jump over a set of boulders and things like that. And so I didn't get to do much of that, but I did one event where it was sort of like that. I was like, okay, well, how do I find the route that's going to enable me to make that jump or get to that point? But it was tied into this thing called Stories of the Mountain. And it's...
Okay, Pocahontas vibe.
It's really... It's kind of weird because there's like the spirit of the mountain doing a narration, and sometimes it's like in a full out cutscene, and other times it's doing it like while you're following this like phantom snowboarder or skier, and so you're following it through, and it's
Ghost
telling
story,
you
I
all
like
of
it.
these things, and then like it's and you're just trying to follow its route, and then you pass through ruins and stuff like that, and I think you probably unlock some events along the way. But it was interesting for sure to have that going on. But yeah, I think Sophie's here.
She wants in.
Sophie wants to.
She's like, I like steep blood.
Yeah,
you can talk about whatever.
You want to put some skis on these feet stuff?
I bet she would love the snow. I never got this dog in the snow. Okay, Sophie, come on. We got to talk about business. Filtering seems like a big deal. It seems like because you said like you jump into the demo for the first time and admittedly this is a tough game to demo, to show everything off at the same time and give users feel like they have the freedom to do what they want. But creations was a big thing that they sold too. They're like you can modify your replays and maybe create your own routes. People try to do create your own stunts. People try to do, but it's like if that's what I want. If I'm like I want to find the best developer created wingsuit challenges, like is that something I can go find?
Yeah,
which you might not know, based on the demo, but
yeah,
that's a concern of mine.
I will definitely say that was one of my biggest challenges. Was they had this point where they sort of wanted to get people to group up, and it didn't work out. I don't know if it didn't work out because of for whatever reason, but yeah. So they're like, yeah, everyone go to like this event and then this event, and one was the White Wings, the one I was telling you about where I got the high score. And then the other one was called Supernatural, and I'm like, where's Supernatural? I'm like rotating the map all around. I don't see it. I'm just going to do some other stuff. Yeah.
So again, yeah, like first time I pulled that map back,
figuring out how to navigate.
It was a big white block with a lot of dots on it, and I'm just like, I need a little more direction.
A lot of customization options.
Sure.
Just like pages and pages of hats and jackets and sunglasses, all that stuff.
So yeah, the reason that Blood is sitting down with me is I am probably going to review this puppy, and I'm very excited about it. I'm definitely going to stream a lot, and I'm just curious. It's a tough game to demo because I think a lot of the finer details about this aren't going to really come out until we can all spend days with this game,
Yeah.
and put a lot more time into it. But excellent analysis. Anything we missed?
I don't think anything in particular, but yeah, I love the races. I love jumping off of half buried village buildings and things like that.
I just want to defy death as much as I can in this game.
And so yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see because that game is so vast. I think it'll be interesting to see when people like find those hidden corners, the things that they don't point out to you, but somebody just kind of they're exploring and they happen upon like a really cool run, and then that starts getting spread around. Or if there's like the Bigfoot thing that Damiano just did, if there's some Yeti wandering around out there, super hidden.
You just started it, Blood. You just said the search for the Yeti and Steve. Stay tuned. But yeah, we will definitely be talking about this game more and streaming it more and reviewing it eventually. But thanks for checking it out, Blood.
Yeah.